Okay, so now we will solve one question. Determine the amount and location of horizontal and vertical component of total hydrostatic pressure on the gate. Okay, we have to determine the total hydrostatic pressure on this gate. The length of the gate is given as 9 meter. Length means the perpendicular to this plate, this one there. Okay, like this. This is 9 meter. Getting this? So the length of the plate is given as 9 meter. This is a curvature of the circle of radius 6 meter. This is a sector gate, and here we have the hinge. Okay, we have to determine the horizontal and vertical component of the force which is acting on this gate. Okay, so the forces acting on this gate will be first horizontal force FH or PH, and second vertical force PV. Okay, so this PH and PV we have to determine. So how can we determine? So I told you one thing, what PH vertical horizontal force is equal to what? Gamma A x bar. Okay, now the A is nothing but the projected area. Okay, so for this we will have to project this area. We will project this area here. On the vertical plane. Okay, now what will be this distance? The length of this projection is nothing but 6 sine of 60. Okay, this distance is nothing but 6 sine 60. This will be 6 sine of 60. Okay, and length is already given as 9 meter. Getting this? Okay, so PH is equal to gamma A x bar. So this will be equal to gamma is 9810 into area is nothing but 6 sine 60 into 9. Okay, so this will be 9 into 6 sine of 60. Okay, into x bar. X bar is half of this. Okay, so this x bar will be equal to 6 sine 60 divided by 2. 6 sine of 60 divided by 2. Okay, so from this pH will be equal to 1191.845 kilonewton. On calculation you will get this. First thing. Okay, now where will it act? It will act on the center of pressure. And how can we determine the value of the center of pressure? H bar. So this H bar, as I told you, is I naught by A into x bar, or you can say x bar plus Ig upon Ax bar, or directly, because this is a rectangle, so the pressure prism will be a triangle here. Okay, the pressure prism of this rectangle, if I draw the pressure prism, this pressure prism will be a triangle. So at 2/3 of this distance I will get what? pH, center of pressure. Getting this or not? Okay, so this can be also written as 2/3 of 6 sine of 60. Okay, so this 2/3 of 6 sine 60, or you can say H bar, you can calculate it from either way. Either you can calculate it from this, or you can calculate it from this. Okay, so from this I will tell you again. So this will be equal to I naught is nothing but BH cube by 3. About base we want. Okay, so this will be BH cube by 3. B is 9 into H cube 6 sine 60 whole cube by 3 into area is again 6 sine 60 into 9 into x bar. Okay, and x bar, as we have already discussed, is 6 sine 60 by 2. Okay, so from here we can get the value of this H bar, which is equal to 3.46 meter. This will be 3.46 meter. The value of this H bar will be 3.46 meter. That means at a distance of 3.46 meter from top, this pH will be acting. Getting this thing? First thing. Okay, next we have to determine the vertical component FV. So how can we determine this FV? So FV, as I told you, is nothing but the area, or you can say the weight of the liquid contained above this curved surface. That means this area, this volume. Okay, suppose this volume is taken as, suppose this point is P, this is Q, this is N, okay, and this is suppose M. Okay, and if I project this, it will meet at a point N dash. Okay, now just understand this thing. We have to determine this area PQN. This is PQN. Okay, we have to determine the liquid in this area. in the area PQN. So first we will have to determine this area, shaded area. Okay, and for this area, how can we determine this shaded area? So FV is actually the weight of the prism. You can write it as weight of the prism of water, which is 9 meter long and having area as PQN. This the weight of the prism of water, which is 9 meter long and having area this PQN. Okay, now further this area PQN. Now how can we determine this area PQN? So this area PQN, इसको हम कैसे निकाल सकते हैं, इस चीज़ को समझ लो. This area PQN. So if I add this area PQN and dash, this is a rectangle, so इसका area easily निकल सकता है. Plus this area N dash NM, this is a triangle, again इसका area easily निकल सकता है. If I add these two area, I will get this whole area. That means I will get PQNMP. ये वाला area मिलेगा. Now from this I will have to deduct the area of sector. Sector is what? MPN. Okay, so if from PQNM, if I deduct MPN, I will get PQN. Getting this not? Okay, so what I can write it as, this area PQN is equal to PQN N dash, PQN N dash, this is a rectangle, plus this triangle which is N N dash M, okay, minus area of the sector MPN. Getting this or not? Okay, so now this PQN N dash. Now what is this PQN N dash? PQN N dash, the length is 6 sin 60. This is 6 sin 60 into this distance. Okay, so what is this distance? So here this can be written as what? This total distance MP. Okay, just look at here. This total distance MP can be written as 6 cos of 60. Okay, MP is 6 cos of 60 minus MP is 6 meter, because this is the radius, this is 6 meter, this is also 6 meter, so this MP is 6 meter. If I deduct M N dash from this, and what is this M N dash? This M N dash is nothing but 6 cos of 60. Getting this not? That means PM, which is 6, minus N dash M, which is 6 cos 60, I will get what? P N dash. Getting this? Okay, so this will be equal to 6 minus 6 cos of 60. This is PQN N dash, first area. Second area is N dash M, area of the triangle. Simple to determine. Half into base. Base is what? M N dash, which is nothing but 6 cos of 60. 6 cos of 60 into altitude, height, which is N dash, which is 6 sin 60. Vertical component, 6 sin of 60. That's it. Getting this or not? Okay, minus. Now what you have to subtract it from here? You have to subtract the area of the sector. Okay, and area of the sector we know, theta by 360 into pi r square. Okay, theta here is 60 by 360 into pi into 6 square. Getting this one? Okay, so from here we will get this area of PQN as, you can calculate it. So this area PQN will be equal to 4.532 meter square. Getting this or not? Okay, first thing. Okay, now so total vertical force PV will be equal to, specific weight, which is 9810, multiplied by the area of this sector, that means area of PQN, which is how much? 4.532, which we have already determined, into the length, which is 9. That means the area of this prism with length 9 meter and area is PQN. Okay, so from here we can determine this vertical force PV. This vertical force will be equal to 400.13 kilonewton. Okay, so from here we can determine this P is equal to PH square under root of PH square plus PV square, or this can be written as under root of 1191.84 square plus 400.13 square. So this will be equal to 1257.21 kilonewton. Okay, so this P, the net force acting on the curved surface is 1257.21 kilonewton. Okay, and at an angle of, for determining direction, tan theta is equal to PV upon PH. So this will be 400.13 divided by 1191.84. So this theta will be equal to 18.33 degree. This is with horizontal. 18.33 degree with horizontal. PV upon PH, because we have taken. Getting this not? So this is how we can determine. Obviously, such lengthy questions will not come in the exam, but this is necessary to understand such questions, because many concepts get clear from such questions. Okay, so we will solve one more question. Okay, next question says, what should be the force F to be applied at the bottom to keep the gate closed? Okay, so we have this gate, and one side is filled with water. Okay, now we have to determine how much force should be applied in the bottom corner, applied at the bottom, in order to keep the gate closed. Okay, because obviously this water will apply certain force, and that force obviously will act at point of center of gravity. So how much that force is and where it is acting, if we are able to determine this, probably we can determine the force which is necessary to resist that required force. Okay, so this P we have to determine. Getting this or not? Okay, now how can we determine this? So for this, first, as I told you, we have to determine the horizontal force, how much horizontal force is acting. So horizontal force we know is what? Gamma A x bar. Okay, gamma is what? 9810 into area of this block. Since length is not given, so length is taken as 1 meter. Okay, that means we are determining the forces per unit length. Okay, so 9810 into area is 5 into 1 into x bar. Okay, what is this x bar? X bar is nothing but the distance of center of gravity of this whole rectangle from top, that means this. So half of this, which is equal to 2.5 meter. Okay, so this will be equal to 122.6 kilonewton. The answer, this will be in Newton, in kilonewton, 122.6 kilonewton. First thing, so this much force is acting. Now where this force is acting, for that we will have to determine h bar. So h bar, as I told you, is I naught upon A into x bar, or directly you can determine 2 by 3 of this length 5 meter. Okay, because this is a rectangle, so the pressure distribution will be like this. Okay, so the 2/3 of this distance, or I naught by A into x bar. Okay, so if I determine this by I naught by A into x bar, I naught is BD cube by 12, that means 1 into 5 cube by 3, sorry, not 12, because we have to determine with reference to this surface, moment of inertia about the surface. Okay, into area is 1 into 5 into x bar is 2.5, so this h bar from here will be 3.33 meter. Getting this or not? Now what does this mean? Now this force Fh is acting at a distance of 3.33 meter from the top. That means this distance is given as 3.33 meter, this distance. Getting this or not? Okay, so obviously this center of pressure is below this hinge, so obviously this will try to open this gate in this direction. Okay, so in order to close this gate, we are applying a force at the bottom, and that force is supposed P. So how much this force should be, this is asked in the question. Okay, so how can we determine now? So this is a hinge. Okay, so moment about hinge should be 0, or you can say F into this distance, that means the distance from hinge to the center of pressure. Okay, so how much is this distance? Total is 3.33 minus 2.5, which is equal to 0.83. Getting this? Okay, so this will be Fh into 0.83 is equal to P into, we are taking it at this point, distance is 2.5, so from here this Fh, this P will be equal to Fh, which we have determined as 122.6 into 0.83 divided by 2.5. So, this P will be equal to 40.75 kilonewton. Answer. Okay, so this much force should be applied at the bottom in order to keep this gate closed. Getting this or not?